Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. At the end of this program, that is on Saturday, everyone would be graduating, right? And I was speaking with a few brothers that when you will be awarded a certificate at the end of the course, but it will not be fair for those who come every day and for some of the people who are staying away. We will understand if somebody's ill, things of that way, you know for definite you cannot make it. We will understand, we will take acceptance to that. But the idea of the certificate at the end of the day and the idea of the dawah course is to motivate you so that you can do work somewhere, right? It's a teaching skill. It's not only that the individual who's here at the platform will be lecturing to you. You have an input. Feel free, after the lecturer has given his talk, feel free to put in your inputs as well. Because the idea is we need to be interactive, we need to participate. If there's something we're not sure of, let us query that, let us find out, let us say, okay, you know what, I have an issue. This forum is supposed to be a forum that must be open to questions. Sometimes we may feel, hey, you know what, but wait a minute, I don't want to ask this question, it might be very controversial, right? But this is the platform for you to ask that. Because when you ask these questions, then the individual will try and give you an answer to the best of his ability. And the idea of that is to make you understand that, okay, you know what, this is how I need to operate. You know, this is how I need to take something forward. But if we keep quiet and keep in silence, then we're never going to know. We'll never know the answers to these things, right? So let's interact, write down your questions, inshallah, and then at the end when we have that last 10, 15 minutes, then inshallah, then at least there's some questions that you have in your mind, you can pose it to our Shaykh, and inshallah, he'll now continue, right? Tafaddal, Shaykh.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وبعد. فقد قال الله عز وجل بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين عن الحمد لله رب العالمين. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم بلغ العلا بكماله كشف الدجى بجماله حسنت جميع خصاله صلوا عليه وآله. Alhamdulillah, we praise Almighty Allah Rabbul Izzati wal Jalal. Once again, we send durood, salams, blessings and salutations to our beloved Master Nabi Kareem Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We say Khataman Nabiyyin la Nabiyya ba'd. He is the last Nabi and there is no any Nabi or Prophet after him. We say loud and clear, Balagh al-ula bi kamalihi, kashafa ad-duja bi jamalihi, hasunati jami'a qisalihi, sallu alayhi wa alihi. Once again, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, this section is my last section, inshallah. And from now, inshallah, I'm only going to see you on Saturday, inshallah, on the day of graduation. On my last section, I requested two things that I will discuss today. First is how to use the platform of media to propagate the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly is how can you stand in front of thousands of people and give them lecture? It's quite a task, but we need to learn some techniques. We start with the media. Media today is the most powerful item. Very, very powerful. and we have to use the media. We have no choice. The non-Muslims and other people, they are using media to attack Islam, and are using media to propagate their religion. And everyone at the moment, his mindset is all in the media. You get into YouTube, you watch what is happening. You get into TV, you see what is going on. You get into WhatsApp, you see what messages, what video clips that came. You get in the radio, you listen what people are talking about. So media, it has made this entire world, the universe is very big. It has made it small, like a community. So it means what's happening in America right now, that message can come to us right now, and we can watch. What's happening in Tanzania, either in Malawi, either in Botswana, wherever it is, if it just happened 5 minutes ago, the whole message will come to us, we will know. So media summarized the whole entire world, has made it as a community. So we need to use media, and media is the most powerful item that we can ever use. If we sit back and look at certain scholars, the scholars that we all know, powerful scholars, powerful speakers, all these speakers here, how do we know about them? Via the media. We know about them via the media. The Qurra, all the Imam Haramain, Shaykh Mullah, and all other great scholars, we all know them via the media. So we need to utilize, we need to learn how the media. But for you to know the media and to win the media, first you need to win the people around you. Because no one will listen to you and no one will follow you if he doesn't know you. For example, my name is Dawood Fickra. I'm going to take my lecture, I will put it into YouTube. No one will go and open it because you look Dawood Fickra, hey, who's this man? Who's this man? Nobody knows about him. There will be another scholar that is well known. Once you just download his lecture, you're going to see viewers all comes together, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 viewers in one time. Why? Because that man, he got the public. But he never have the public just like that. But he have used the media slowly by slowly. You have to win the people. First of all, once you win the platform, you are lecturing in the masjids or in the same congregation. You are inspiring people. People loves you. Slowly by slowly, people start following you. Then maybe you go into Facebook. Then somebody sees you there, they start following you. So you are inspiring people and the people are following you. Then you have a huge follower. Then you turn away from Facebook, you say, let me go into YouTube. You see everyone will come into YouTube. Let me go into radio. Everyone want to listen to your shows. What time your shows start? Let me go into ITV. Everyone want to listen to you in ITV. Thereafter, you got the entire world under control. So your speech becomes powerful. If you have to say something, it can go throughout the entire world. If you can send a message, that message go throughout the entire world. So we have phones with us, but how to utilize these phones, how to utilize this media. First of all, the practice, it makes you perfect. Before you lecture, before you send your clip, before you send even yourself, practice on it. Talk to the wall. You know, this is the wall, or this is a desk. You're alone. Stand there and talk to it. We in Madrasa, they taught us in that way. They said, before you go and talk to the masjid, and the masjid, perhaps there are 2,000, 3,000. Now, if you are talking to 2,000, 3,000, you can forget. You become blank. You can prepare your lecture, can be here. But everyone is viewing, looking at you. You go blank. Your tongue becomes tight. Then you can't talk properly. Then you make mistakes. And once you make one mistake and you concentrate that mistake, you make another mistake. Then you make another mistake. Then you spoil your whole talk and you become a laughing stock. People say, this man, what he did, oh, wow. We came, we said, look what he did to himself. He made himself a fool. But he's an educator. He knows his stuff. He knows his Quran. He knows the hadith. But the only way that he don't know how to get to the people. So, before you go into the congregation, our Shaykh used to tell us, sometimes you take topics like this, you put in front of you, and you think that these are the people, and you are talking to them. So practice yourself. Stand up, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then talk to them, take to them. That's how you are practicing yourself. And now, when you are going now, into that platform now, you are warmed up now. Then you stand up, then you want to talk to the congregation. Wallah, you won't have a fear. You will deliver your talk. Slowly by slowly, you're going to become a powerful speaker in the community. Slowly by slowly, you're going to see yourself, you're gone. But you need to take out the fear. Second point, if you are invited in any function or in any masjid to give a talk, once you stand up, you look around, you're going to see, hey, this is a mufti. This is a Shaykh al-Hadith. That guy is too good in the Masail. That guy is a speaker. Now this worry comes to you. It attacks you now. Now you are standing now, you're thinking, hey, I must watch what I'm saying. I must watch my ibara when I'm reading. I must watch the qiraat. I must watch the ayat, how I'm quoting it. I must watch. That fear, it makes you to make mistakes. But you must have a confidence within you. Whether the mufti is not a mufti, in your mind you must say, I am a mufti because I'm holding the platform today. So I am a mufti today in this masjid. So you just have that strength talk and go forward until you finish your lecture. Thereafter you can realize, okay, where you made a mistake, where you never make a mistake, and all of it. And Islam is so easy. After every discourse, you must say exactly straight, if there is any mistakes, comes from me. And if there is any other correction comes from Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have cleared yourself. It means you are a human being. So in your discourse, if there was a mistake, you attribute it to yourself. So there's no problem. Nobody can attack you on that. You said, it's me, I'm a human being, I've made a mistake. So that is, they need to be very, very active. And once you stand in a platform, third point, you need to think in advance. You have taken one topic, you need to always think advance. One sentence, it must lead you to another one. Another sentence, it must lead you to another one. You must think advance, but if you don't think advance, sometimes you run out of words, you're going to run out of your lecture, you will repeat the same thing again and again. Then you start looking for what to say. Then once you start looking what to say, in that moment of time when you're startling or you're having a problem, then immediately you get stuck. Once you get stuck, then yourself, you are in the problem. So, you need to think in advance. If you take the topic of taqwa, for example, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. You have selected the topic of taqwa. Now, don't run from this topic to another topic, confusing congregation. Stick in the same topic, at taqwa. So what you must do, first, you selected the ayah, translate the ayah. Once you translate the ayah, if it's possible, get into the tafsir of the ayah. Allahu Akbar. Wallahi, I'm not lying. We need to make a lot of du'as to our scholars, mufassirin and muhaddithin. They did a great job. We don't have time to research, to make our own research. The research is done. We just have to take kitabs and read. Just look, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu ittaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun. One ayah, but if you go in front, there is two topics on it. Fear Allah the way how Allah is supposed to be feared. So, question you ask the congregation now. How can we fear Allah the way how Allah is supposed to be feared? Quickly, break it down into ashar, share. How can you fear Allah the way how you want to fear? Then you say, Hazrat Ibn Mas'ud, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he stated, أَيَّكُونَ التَّقْوَى دَائِمًا. The fears of Allah has to be all the time, not only in the masjid, outside of the masjid, you are alone, wherever you are. So 24 hours, you have to be with the fearing of Allah. Then ittaqullah haythuma kunta wa atbul hasana sayya. You take all those ahadith of the taqwa. وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. And do not die unless you have to be the believers. You come with another question there. Dying is not the option of anyone. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is putting the option. Don't die until you are the believers. That is the command of Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already stated in the Quran, do not die until you are the believers. So we don't have any option unless when we are dying we have to be the believers. So how can we die while we still the believers? The way you live is the way you die. So if you live your life, every time you are alive of iman, taqwa, you're going to die like the same. So this is the ayah, just an example for you all. And you break it down like that and you go slowly by slowly. You must remember, once you are giving the lecture, you are delivering the dars. Don't rush. Don't be so equipped. You know, people get equipped and they talk and talk and talk. You're confusing the people. Your reaction mustn't be too much. Break it down slowly by slowly, slowly by slowly, slowly by slowly. I'll give you another example, the example of myself. Myself, I know I don't come from the background of the English. English is not my mother's tongue. So if it's not my mother's tongue, if I sit in the masjid, for example, I come sometimes to lecture in Grey Street. I'm lecturing in Grey Street, I know. There's Professors Day. There's school teachers day. Doctors are there. White people. Different types of people that are born from the background of the English. So, I must take myself that English is not my mother's tongue. So I mustn't rush. Once you rush, you'll be swallowing the words, people won't understand you. Talk slowly by slowly, word by word. Translate, come down. Go forward, come back. And slowly by slowly your talk is delivered and you're done. But once you want to talk the way how other speakers gives the lecture, you must remember those speakers, perhaps they come from the background of English, or sometimes they're graduates of university. So if you want to copy them, you make a lot of mistakes. And always don't use those hard words, they say bombastic words. People like to use that to impress others. Some people, they use words, they don't know the words, what it means itself. You're delivering a talk and you are using the word. First of all, you are confusing the congregation, you are confusing yourself. You must remember, not everyone is learned once you are talking. There are some people that are coming from the street, they want to come and listen to your talk. So they are following you up. Once you use the hard word, they're lost in that moment of time. So they missed a good part. Then if you use another hard word, second, they missed again. If they miss 4 or 5 times, they lost your topic. You have confused the innocent people that they came early in the morning, get prepared, they want to listen to your discourse, your motivation, they want to come close to Allah, but they are lost. So, always stick, if you're not coming from the background of English, speak slowly and go forward slowly. And when you know what you said, people never understand, go back quickly. Or you have used the word and people never understand you clear. Go back to it, repeat it. The Prophet, peace be upon him, كان إذا تكلم يكرر ثلاثا. When he speaks, he used to repeat 3 times. What was the reason behind it? He knew that some people in the congregation, they cannot catch up fast. They're slow mind, born. Sometimes you get disturbed once you're a child. Sometimes you're just slow in your mind, you're slow. Some of them, they're too smart. Once you speak one word, they come conclusion to the second word that you want to speak before you speak. Some they're too smart like that because they learned. But some they're too slow. But Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he's delivering the talk, he's delivering the talk on the level of the slowest person first. That means whether he understands you before you finish, it is his problem. But your concentration is about this man that is slow. So if you repeat 2 times, 3 times, you're not making any mistakes. The purpose of the discourse is you must deliver the talk, not to impress. Your message must go through. Wallahi, I will tell you honest, I sat in the company of different scholars, certain scholars that have seen. They give powerful lectures with the quotation, doesn't inspire nobody, it doesn't touch your heart. There are some people plain, they just stand up, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Maybe they don't even quote from the Quran, the verse itself, the ayat Arabic, they translate in English or whatever language it is. The hadith also, they translate the hadith. They don't quote the hadith in the Arabic way. But when they finish, wallahi, everybody else is inspired and the people, they are ready to change their lives. His intention was not to impress, but his intention was to deliver the talk. So, the fear, I'll give you one secret. This is for my personal secret. You can write it down. Even you put my name there, no problem. If you are in the biggest congregation, you want to deliver a talk and you are scared, naturally, human being, if he has fear. Before you enter or before you start, you must breathe in, write down, and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. So what happens is your body or your heart, it takes out the shiver within itself, that fear. So if you have fear of anybody, or you are going for the interview, or you're going to meet somebody, and you have fear, to remove that fear once you breathe in, the whole air goes inside, oxygen, then after you breathe out and you remove, and once you breathe 3 times, it takes out the fear, and man becomes brave. So once you stand up and you want to give the discourse, you're brave. And remember, to be a da'i doesn't need you to be a mufti. No. Doesn't need to be you must be an alim. But you must be a speaker. And to be a speaker, you need to practice a lot, you need to listen a lot. Listen a lot of lectures. Follow one of the scholars that you love the most, listen to their lectures. And once you listen to their lectures, then try not to copy the way how he speaks, but copy his techniques. Then slowly by slowly, you're going to become a successful da'i. One day you're going to say, oh, I was sitting in IPCI, some years back, 2019. The time perhaps to be 2030. By the time you'll be a greatest scholar and you'll be speaking and you are speaking not only to one country, you're speaking throughout the entire world. Whoever works hard, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him whatever you want. And I'll give you a quick example. In madrasa, we had one youngster. This youngster was from Malaysia. When he's reading tilawat of Quran, he was reading it, but because of his tongue, he was reading like he's reading in Malaysian language. And once we go by the ustaz, we used to laugh. That time, we used to laugh. Say, hey, but look at the way how he's reading. It's not like Arabic, man. Look the way how he's reading. But I was impressed with him. He's saying, I want to become a qari. Everybody in the class, we were denying, no, I think that is not in your side. You see, choose something else maybe, because the way how you read, I don't think you can become a qari. Maybe you can be a speaker, or you can be the author, or you can be this, you can be... I don't think you can become a qari. Today, that qari, he became a greatest qari in his country, and he travels throughout the entire world. Confidence within yourself, what you want to do. So you used to take the cassette, listen to repeat again. You listen to repeat again. After mutala, when you finish studying, you used to go back himself, you put the headset, you're repeating again and again and again and again. Within a year, then we see that the man is reading differently. Then on Jalsa, they're putting him on the final Kirat, he's reading. We said, we used to laugh at this man. And finally, until the day he qualified, he was the last qari that he recited the Quran. And I still remember, he recited Surah Wash-Shams wa-Duhaha. The way how he recited was ajib. And because he wanted to be the qari, he also recited different qira'ats. وَغَلَّقَتِ الْأَبْوَابَ وَقَالَتْ هَيْتَ لَكَ وَقَالَتْ هِيْتَ لَكَ. But the way he recited it impressed everyone. So you must have a confidence within yourself. The whole world can tell you cannot speak. You are not a speaker, but you are a mufti within yourself. Istafsi nafsak. Ask yourself who you are. What you give yourself is that you are, not what somebody else gives you. No one knows you better than yourself besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's no one can give you fatwa. You cannot stand in a platform, you're not qualified on that. You cannot give lecture, you're not qualified on that. Do not get those disappointment and take it personally. Rather, take that as a compliment, put it in the pocket and throw it in the bin and say, Jazakallah, my brother. And you go forward for it. You go for, you try. Whoever tries, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him. So, two things before we conclude. The first thing is how to use the media. Second, how to give the lecture in the congregation. Coming back into the media is very funny. Why? Because everybody is there and people, they were looking for your mistakes. Too much jealousy people in the media. The moment you make a mistake, they want to expose you and they want to create a problem for you. So you need to be very careful when you are using the media. Secondly, once you use the media, it becomes popular. Once it becomes popular, you need to watch your steps, because a lot of people knows you and you don't know a lot of people. So people follows you. They are following you not to learn. They are following you to see where you can fall down. They must use that and to become the weapon to kill you, to finish you up. So once you are using the media, propagating the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be careful what you do, what you say, and what you send. People, they're going to take you, they want to post you back in the media once they found you with any problem. For an example, we are using media. Someone else will text you. Especially, I want to speak about WhatsApp. It's quite very famous and vast, and everybody uses it. Now, who is talking to you, sometimes you doesn't know. Can be a man, can be a female. Can be a man acting like a female, can be a female acting like a man. But they want to put you in a trap. So what you respond, you need to be very, very carefully. And you need to be careful also where you're going, where you're walking, and what you're doing. Because people, they can take your picture. Once your lecture is posted, they're going to post you with that person that you was walking with, and they say, this man is talking here, this is the same man. This man that is talking there, this is the message that he sent me. This man that he is a popular man, this is what he's doing, he's breaking the homes of everybody. So in the media, you can go right on top. Overnight, you can fall right down. And when you fall down, you fall very hard. Very hard even to wake up. People, they can drop you overnight. Your reputation can be built over 10 years, 20 years. It can be smashed within a second. Within a second, your whole hard work can go right on the water. So you need to be very, very matured once you are using media. So we are saying we're going to go for the media, but we need to go with the knowledge, we need to go with the wisdom, and also we need to be conscious with all the problems of the medias, and after that you're going to be successful. Last point. If anyone corrects you of your mistakes, do not feel offended. Accept the mistake that you have done. Can be in the platform, can be out of the platform, can be wherever it is. Accept it. But remember, the correction of the mistakes, it comes in two ways. One, a person wants to correct you because you made a mistake. Second is a person is using the correction to humiliate you, to put you down. So how do you deal with these two things? If a person corrects you right in front of everyone, and his intention is he wants to humiliate you, so you need to be very advanced on that. The way he spoke to you, you need to be very advanced, accept his correction, and correct him also on the same spot. So you all both become same level. Correct him the way how he corrected you. That is wrong. Prophet, peace be upon him, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, indeed, if a man makes a mistake, you correct him privately, he will listen to you more than correcting in the public. So if a person stand up, for example, you're busy, you're giving a lecture. So there's many people follows you, there's a lot of people learn from you. And a man, he says, Shaykh, what you said is wrong. Because you said this, but there is another hadith says about this. And you said this, and I read another somewhere, and they said something like this. And you are saying this. Why are you lying to us? Now he speaks rude to you in front of everyone. So don't get shiver. Don't fall down. But be brave enough. How you be brave enough? Same time, you tell him, my brother, in your research you might be correct, but I read also certain research. So I don't follow your opinion, I follow my opinion. But whatever you say, I take it. But you correct him in front of everyone, you have also went against the teaching of the Prophet ﷺ. So himself also he comes down. Allama Shirazi, he is the Mufassir, Tafsir al-Kabir, powerful tafsir. The tafsir is 30 volumes, if I'm not mistakenly. 30 volumes. If you look how thick he is, and you think about them, how much of time they have to write, and we cannot even finish one tafsir even to read, to go about it. He said one usul. The usul says, At-takabbur inda al-mutakabbirina tawadhu'an. At-takabbur inda al-mutakabbirina tawadhu'an. To show pride in front of the pride man, for you it is a humbleness because you want to drop him down. What does it mean? It means somebody show you pride and you show him also pride, then a person slows down. And we have seen this many times. You never seen that? Yeah. Sometimes you give salam to someone because the man is too proud of himself, he got wealth, he got everything. You give him a salam alaikum, you see a man turn this side like he never hear you and he's walking away. He's running from your salams, he's looking at you, maybe your performance, or is looking at your skin, or is looking at your standards, all of that. So people like that, next time, perhaps you see two people standing here, you go and give salam only to his friend that is standing there, salam alaikum, you don't give it salam and you walk away. It's not like you are isolating him, but you are showing him what he did was wrong. So if you not ready to respond my salams, I'm not ready to give to you. You're going to think now. You say, hey, look at this brother. He gave salam to this one, never gave salam to me. Everybody going to look around, and after that, slowly by slowly, he will learn the lesson. Myself, I remember, there is a brother, I remember that many times whenever I give him salams, he was turning down, looking other side. But anyway, I kept it to myself. There was one day in a congregation, thousands of people were sitting there, and I was invited to give a talk. Then he was sitting on the first sofa. So when I came there, I started giving salams. So how I was giving salams? I was giving salams to all the Muslims around. I gave salam to this one here. Assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum. It came by him, I jumped him. Everyone started looking at him. This Imam, look, what's his problem? He never gives salam to this man. But this man, he realized, not tomorrow, same day, when I was coming from the Jummah, that man came and greeted me. So we have taught him a lesson. He learned salams now. He started greeting you. Last time you greet him, he did not reply. This time he is coming forward and greet you. So many a times you're going to face all these challenges, but you just need to be advanced. But I'll tell you that learn how much you can learn. Read how much you can read. Memorize whatever you see. Whatever is in front of you, it is quite amazing and is impressing. Take that, read it, put it within yourself, and occupy your memory. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed everyone with a powerful memory. But the way we slow down our memory. Let's take whatever it is, read. If you see one ayah, that ayah you see is impressing, read it, memorize it, and memorize also the tafsir of it. Any hadith that you saw, read one hadith, memorize it. One day when you are invited into a function or into a lecture, unprepared, one phone call comes to you, we are stranded, Shaykh, we are here. There's no time for you to go back home to go and prepare. And they're only giving you that phone call is only maybe 10 minutes left for Juma or 15 minutes left for the function. So you gather yourself. You are driving, you put yourself a topic, you choose a topic, and after that in the topics now you remember all the hadith, memorize this, that. The time you are jumping out from the car, you walk in the masjid, you already have a topic. Did you say Bismillah, you start a topic, you give the lecture, gone, finish. So you have to be well prepared. So there are three things that a person must know, a da'i. Prepare one powerful lecture, keep it with you. One powerful lecture, keep it with you. Every day you have to be ready with it. Have one surat ready with you, powerful surat, with a good qira'at, it must be with you. Learn the salati janaza and the dua and everything. These three things are most urgent that they need the imams. Sometimes you're just going to go in the masjid, you want to read behind the imam. You just come in the front, there's no imam there. Imam is delayed or something happens and people just want to push you in the front because they know you. Now, because you already have one surah within you, two surah, three surahs, powerful, you're just going to go inside, then you read. That's how people say this man is powerful. A lecture where they just walk in, same time they're just going to take you and put you on the spot. Once you become a da'i, you must know one thing. Wallahi, there's many times we put each other in the spot. What does it mean? It means that, for example, I just came to sit here. I don't have a program over here, but the speaker knows me here. He's going to talk and he says in front of me, Alhamdulillah, I see there is Shaykh Dawood, Fickra. Would like to give him 10 minutes. We did not discuss. I'm prepared. I just said. But we would like to give him Subhanallah, Takbir, Allahu Akbar, Takbir, and then you sit down. You are in the spot. There's no way you can deny. And I've seen many times people, the MC or a speaker, when he speaks like that, he finish everything, he walk away. Now, he put you in the spot. Inshallah, Maulana Dawood Fickra will come forward. Inshallah, Jazakumullah khair. Inshallah, Takbir. Then he walk away, same time. Now everybody else, their face, their eyes will be looking at you. You cannot deny now. Then you have to come front. And when you start making mistakes, stuttering, because never prepared, people want to say, but this man one day was giving a powerful lecture. I don't know what happened today. But once he put you in the spot, quickly one lecture comes, and you have to be prepared. And I'll give you a personal advice from my side. Myself, I have one lecture, well prepared, with share, ayats, whatever you name it, maut, death. It's a current affairs. Something is happening everywhere. So I have one lecture every day. I'm prepared. I can just walk in anywhere. I can give that lecture because I've prepared it. So I've chosen that lecture, particular lecture of death. So even I just sit, somebody make me stand up, or I just walk somewhere, I'm going to give that lecture. People are going to get surprised because I prepared that lecture. It is in my head because I prepared many a times and I read it many a times and I've given it also sometimes, all of that. And it's a current affair where it's happening. So you choose something that is happening. We become the successful da'is. I think my time is up. I would like to open this the congregation with the Q&A before somebody else comes, because I'm entering in another section, or before we go for the tea break. Any question? Ask the question, inshallah. This is my last chance. I'm with you all. I'm only going to see you, inshallah, on Saturday, if Allah wills. But in our meetings, in our sections, inshallah, anyone want to know anything that has to do with dawah, communicating with people, how to lecture, how to get to certain things, the public is open, inshallah.
So the question here is that what criteria can be used to choose a good and motivated speaker on media, while we know also today's time there is a challenge of the media that they're propagating against Islam?
You need to follow a person that will take you close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his manhaj, his aqidah. This before the talk, before you follow his talk, what you have to look first, look at his aqidah. What does he believe? Because there are shiism outside, there's too many things happening outside there. Second, his manhaj, his conduct, his behavior, what kind of a person. Look at his qualities first before you look at the quality of his speech. Look at his qualities, his akhlaq, his aqidah, is a scholar, in which side he comes from. His, as a scholar, every scholar comes from different sides. Which side does he come from? Thereafter, then you go to him. For example, this is, who are the ulama? إِذَا رُؤُوا ذُكِرَ اللَّهِ. When you see them, they remind you about Allah. There are certain people, Allah has blessed them. When you just look at them, they remind you about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I've seen also many people that sometimes when I see them, I remember about Salah, and I read the Salah just to look at them. You see, now those scholars are the people that you have to follow, but before you follow them, do a proper research about them. Find out where they come from in terms of aqidah, their manhaj, and also in their education. Look in particular, what danger do they have within them? Once you are satisfied with it, then after that you can follow them. But I always say that it's good sometimes, every man must have his own. There is a Fundis, he got a question, before his question, let me just finish this sentence. You must always have someone in your community that you love the most. Good akhlaq, the imam that you follow. That imam, perhaps he can direct you to a good scholar than you searching on your own. Than you going on your own and say, let me go search. But if you have a sheikh, if you have a ustaz, if you have somebody, ask them, ustaz, I love to follow this particular person. What's your view on this particular person? Then you follow that. Are you satisfied? Okay. Jazakumullah khair. In Arabic, they says, I asked my sheikh, I said, what do you say about a scholar? And what do you say about that scholar? His answer to me was saying, خُذْ مَا صَفَى وَدَعْ مَا قَدَرْ. Take whatever is clear for you. What you feel your mind can observe, take that. But what is ambiguous? Ambiguous is something you don't understand and you're fighting to understand what this guy is trying to say. It is right or not? Those type of things, leave it. Don't fight to understand, just leave it. So take a scholar, you don't follow him fully, you take whatever it is clear with you, what he says, his views that it suits you, and you understand this is in the clear part, khudh ma safa, take what is clear, wada' ma qadar, whatever it is ambiguous, take it, leave it, one side, don't fight with it. And once you do, then, after it's finished. This is, ayyu abdin la alimma. There's no any human being that doesn't make a mistake. Kullu bin Adam khata'un wa khayru khata'ina at-tawwabun. We all make mistakes. So every scholar makes mistakes. You can follow a scholar, someone else say he got a problem on this because he gave the talk and this what his mistakes made. He's a human being. He's not a Nabi. And he makes mistakes and that is his mistake. So you're not following his mistakes, you're following his correct part. That is it. Myself, personally, I always like Shaykh A.S.Moola, but not everything. I like him in the strength of his quotation and the strength of the ash'ar, how he pose it, and how he put his discourse. If you want to know about how to open the talk, his muqaddama, Allahu Akbar, is amazing. First impression is a last. His impression first, it is in the beginning. He opened the talk with the ayah. He will bring the tafsir, he will bring then the hadith, then the share. Sometimes the ayah is there, but he won't touch it. He will come from far. He will start from far with the share, slowly by slowly digesting it, slowly by slowly, then you get into the ayah for you to understand the ayah. So these are the amazing scholars, they do the research. They are asatiza, they know exactly that, okay, how to present yourself, the daras in front of somebody. So that is the scholars. Any question before we close? Naam ya Shaykh. Kabirun jiddan.
I want to know, someone always finds himself nervous when
He finds himself nervous. Okay. First of all, you need to think that all these people are here, they're not here to kill me. They're here to listen to me. So if they are sitting there and they're listening to me, put yourself that you are a mufti of the platform. So you are handling the platform. So break the nerves down that I am the in charge. I am in charge of this platform on this moment of time. And be brave and go forward. Think about all of them they want to learn from you, that's all. If you are driving a taxi or you are driving a bus, don't think, hey, I'm driving this, but you know how many people are inside here? 120, they're all going wherever they're going, they're depending on me, and you're thinking and you're driving, and after that you see the traffic, another car is coming this side, you make a problem in the road. But have a confidence within yourself. I am a driver. All of them are not drivers. Take them like they don't have even license. You only have license in that car. Then drive and go forward.
African culture, which includes the ancestors and everything like that. So how do you come to a same level?
We have kalimas that we read that break down everything. قولوا آمنا بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر. All those ayats. You believe in Allah in all the kitabs. The kitabs, al-kutub is jama, plural. It means Quran, Injil, Tawrat, Zabur, and all other kitabs. Now, we believe on those books. And those books, perhaps the good cultures of that which people they are following. We are saying we believe on the kitabs. There is two things you need to understand. Believing and following. Believing, you believe these kitabs came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Following, you follow the rules that are present. When Christianity was that time, it was a command of everyone to follow it on the time, because that is only the religion that is there. Whoever doesn't follow on that particular time, he becomes a kafir on the time. So as the time goes past, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings Islam. So this whole entire Christianity, it is nasikh, or I should say is mansukh. Now, we are in Islam time. We are in the time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent another Nabi, and we are following that Nabi. A man that will say, no, I won't follow this Nabi, I'll still follow that Nabi, he becomes a kafir. It is a command for everyone to follow our Prophet on this time and age, because he is a current Nabi. Before I get more details in your question, we get present in a time. This present will come. And when it comes, sometimes it comes, the rules changes. This rule, this law, that law changes. So everyone on his time, they will follow what he says on the time. If I will say myself, you know what, I think I'm still going to follow what Zuma said, not what Ramaphosa is saying, I'll get into problems, because the law now, what new laws brought by Ramaphosa, that is the present Ramaphosa, that is what I have to follow. So you cannot follow what is in the past. So now here on this time, all of us, we have to follow Islam, because Islam is a current religion and is the last, and there's no any other one besides it. So the culture now, it comes to the culture. A person that says, I follow Christianity culture, and I don't want to follow anything else. We look deep in that culture itself. If there is shirk within it, there is a problem. If there is kufr on that culture, there is a problem. But if it's just a culture that came about because people are living in the culture time, and the culture does not contradict anything in the Sharia, we don't have any problem on it. For an example, in the Zulu culture, they believe this. They believe in this. Me, myself, I'm walking. And there's two people coming. I cannot go past in the middle. Because if I go past in the middle, I'm taking away their luck or something like that. So they believe on that. Now look at that belief. That belief in Arabic, we can say, La yusminu wala yughni min ju'i. It cannot satisfy your stomach, can make you hungry. It means that it doesn't change you anything, it's just a belief itself. So you cannot fight on those type of beliefs because that beliefs got nothing to do with anything. Whether man believes on that or it doesn't believe on that, the haqiqah, the reality, you know, there's nothing about the luck and all that. So you don't fight on those particular things, but you only fight wherever there is a culture, that culture there is a shirk within it. Because myself, I've participated in a different occasion where people, they are doing the culture. I'm not talking African culture. That was totally different from African culture. But now, on that, I could see that the people they're going, they are taking the names of the idols and the singing. The names of the idols, I'm talking about the idols itself. And they say it's a culture. And why I participated there is because somebody was getting married, and I was also invited as a Muslim. Because of the respect that family has, you must give a talk on that moment of time. So we gave a talk. After that, there was Krishna. Let's speak about Krishna if you know about it. Krishna is another idol. If you see in the Diwali time, they are all blowing all that fireworks and all that. They believe on a certain God, certain time he came out and all of that. He was saved. He was not attacked and whatever. And they're celebrating on that. You know, so they were singing that. They were happy and they were singing. On that now, on the song, because I understand the language was spoken, they were saying about this is the idol that brings us together, that gives us the food, that gives us this, gives us that, and they were doing all of it. End of the day, I realized on this culture there is a problem because there is a shirk and a kufr within it. I think my time is finished. Now, Fundis, Ji. Naam Hazrat, Fundis Abdul Milanzi.
I don't know the cash. Maybe I'm just a new person in this country.
Ji.
I came, but I like to watch to play cash. So, but I don't know how to speak. I don't know how their legs and they don't like.
Okay.
We are different. We are black, but we are different according to our things.
Very easy, yeah.
I said that in Sayako, Lashata. So they are according to our intention, it's different. So how to make down to them?
It's very easy. This is Anzilun Nasa Manazilahum. Reach the people according to their levels with their cultures. There is a says in English, they says if you go to Rome, you must dress like the Romans. You're going to Rome, so you don't want to be different with the Romans there. Dress according to the way how they dress. Mix with them. Thereafter, then you become part of their culture. For a person to follow you, first of all, you must see you are suiting him. If you come from another country to this country, and if you're not suiting the people of this country, it will be very hard for the people of the country to accept you. They will never listen to you. First, you need to suit them first. Be with them, suit them, learn their culture. Once you learn their culture, then after that, bring your message forward. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We're going to become future da'is. Are we going to run backward or forward? So tafaddal, come. Let's use the front table. Huh?
Is it my hat? I'll take it off. I'll take it off, no problem.
Inshallah, Shaykh Faheem will give you his discourse on dawah, media, inshallah. And he is with the ILS as well, Islamic Lifestyle Solutions. He will give you some time also for question and answers. Inshallah, when he's done with his session, then you can pose some questions also to him. Tafaddal.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een wa ba'd. Allah in whose name we begin, the eternal with no beginning, everlasting with no ending. Peace and choicest salutations upon the cream of creation, Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wa salam. First and foremostly, Jazakallah khair to the IPCI for giving me the honor of being in your good company. In fact, the honor is more on my side than it should be on yours, because the student of the deen, according to the hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, man kharaja li talabil ilm, whoever leaves in search of knowledge, fahuwa fi sabilillah. He is in the path of Allah hatta yarji'a, until he returns. So you are in the path of Allah, so you honor me with your presence, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your efforts, inshallah. I'm going to apologize that maybe everyone's got a different language barrier and I'm speaking in English, but if there's any issues, I'm sure someone will be able to assist you with that, right? So the IPCI is running this little program to empower, and it doesn't mean that you are in need of the knowledge. Of course, there's a Maulana and Alim as well seated here. Maybe some of you already are ulama as well. It doesn't mean that these programs are created because we have more knowledge than you. No, that's not the basis of ilm. But we all can learn something from each other. And I've just displayed that to you. Before I came here, I didn't know your names. I didn't know where you were from. I learned that from you. So I took knowledge already from you. Now you'll give me the opportunity, if there is something that I can provide, that you can take back from me. And that's one of the beauties of ilm. So our workshop and topic of discussion for today is da'wah. My objective has been to discuss the subject of journalism. Not that I know much about the subject, but we'll try our level best, inshallah. I'm known as Shaykh Faheem. I don't like titles. Allama, Hadrat, all those things, they don't belong to me because they can be very misleading. For you who are youngsters in this path, be very, very sure that the moment you accept the title is the first time you are already opening yourself to the path of destruction, right? One of the only reasons we'll accept even Shaykh is I consider myself, because Shaykh in Arabic language is old. So, okay, I'm already old, I'll take that one on. We don't know anything, and the more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know. That's the beauty of ilm. So we try not to accept too much of titles and let it go to our heads, and we always make the dua of Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, because we never ever are on the straight path, and that's the beauty of the dua itself, right? Now, because our subject is journalism, so I was just told about this, I think, last week. So I just did something very, very quickly. On the basis of journalism, this is a construct of a newspaper. We're just calling it Times of the Ummah. You can see there, Wednesday, the 30th of October. That's our date today. Please take your wallets out. Here's the price here, $1.25. Got it? I'm just joking, huh? All right. Okay. So, the Islamic Lifestyle Solutions, you can see the logos. That's the organization that I am one of the co-founders of and represent. And it's a privilege to be here with you today. Now, the idea of journalism on the basis of writing, it's a fundamental principle in the field that you are taking. Dawah has been limited only to speaking, but that's not where it should remain. Its fundamental point should be at writing, and that's why we have the concept of jihad bil qalam, which is to strive through your pen. And the idea of this is somebody says something against your deen, against your principles that you stand up for, you are actually fighting that cause, but without violence, through ilm, through knowledge, through writing. So on that basis, inshallah, we'll try to just go through some of the points of discussion. Now, I'm sure some of you have heard the concept of the pen is mightier than the sword. Now, if you haven't, then you should make note of this. It's a very, very powerful statement written in the late 1800s by an author who was trying to say that in news media, we can resolve many matters through writing as opposed to violence. And we have to now ask ourselves, almost a century later, is it true? Is the pen really mightier than the sword? Because someone can say, well, if I can't really kill you with my pen, but if I had a sword, I might be able to do a better job with it. But is it really as literal as that, or is there more to it? So let's try to explore that a little more. Now, here's a picture in front of you. I'm going to ask you, if you can, what do you see in front of you? Anyone knows what this animal is or was known as in history, if it ever existed? Anyone? Look at it carefully. It's not just a horse. Yes, somebody said it? A unicorn. Why we identify it as a unicorn? Because of that lovely horn on its head. So a horse with a horn on its head is called a unicorn. And when the answer was given and everyone's nodding because you heard of it. Let's try another image. Anyone knows what creature is this known as from myths and legend of the past? Yeah, but what wolf? A werewolf. This is known as a werewolf. Quite common, right? You won't find it outside, I promise you, don't worry, huh? What's this one? Dragon, right? Now, when I show you these images of a unicorn, of a werewolf, of a dragon, do these creatures exist? They don't. Unicorns never existed, not that we know of, nor do werewolves, nor do dragons. But yet in 2019, if I ask you what it is, I show you a picture, you can tell me what it was. How is that possible? It's because somewhere in history, somebody wrote a story about it. And that story was passed on, and it went from town to town, country to country, generation to generation, until now in the 21st century, these concepts are so famous that people are making hundreds and millions of dollars writing books about them and making movies about them. One of the biggest industries of making money in the world today is through books, movies, and television. And those three images that I told you are from the fantasy realm, the fantasy genre. And those three images are one of the famous ones. Now people are making hundreds and billions of dollars from animals that never existed, all because somebody wrote about it. So how powerful are words if written and passed down in the appropriate way? So is the pen mightier than the sword? Yes, it is. For these stories to reach us so many centuries later, that I'll show you a picture and you know what it was, but you never saw it. Your grandfather never saw it. Your great-grandfather never saw it, but you know it. That's the power of words. Now let's go back to the Quran. The most famous ayah, Iqra, for which the Quran commences. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts by saying Iqra, which translates as what? Read. Okay. But Shaykh Faheem is a little bit confused now because his subject matter is journalism, which is writing. Why are we talking about reading? Aren't we supposed to be talking about writing? So why are we going to Iqra? But hold on. Iqra, in that command to read, means, how are you going to read something if it's not written? Correct. It had to be what? So subhanallah, the moment the Quran was revealed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already told us that it is going to be written. From the very first verse. When he said Iqra, the Quran was not in writing. It was oral transmission. It only got compiled in the era of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq first, and later in the era of Sayyidina Umar and Sayyidina Uthman bin Affan into a complete book. But when the first verse was revealed, when he said Iqra, it already prophesied that it was going to be in writing. Now let's go through, because in the field of da'wah, one of the big problems of the ummah in the 21st century is we confuse what is tilawah with what is reading. You see, everyone wants to read Quran beautifully, alhamdulillah, but Ramadan comes, we open the Quran, we want to finish Quran, but do we actually read it? We make tilawah, and that's the command of Uttulu ma uhiya. That's that command. But who's making amal on the command of Iqra, to read? To read, you have to understand. So Muslims are making lots and lots of tilawah, but they're not reading what is written in the book of Allah. As a result of that, someone is a thief, he's stealing, and he comes to the verse in the Quran that says, السارق والسارقة فاقطعوا أيديهما. The verse that he's making tilawah of says, this is the punishment of a thief. He's a thief, he's making tilawah, he never understands, he makes tilawah and then he goes and steals. So it didn't help him. The Quran is not impacting on him because he's only making tilawah, he's not reading. So reading has an impact when there's understanding. Now this particular verse of the Quran, Iqra, for me, resolved the problem that even in the 21st century, even if you look at comparative religion, people are trying to resolve. The first verses of Surah Alaq resolved it. If we read what is written. Now here's a question, let's be honest. I'm going to ask you to be honest with yourselves, right? I know you all may already know Surah Alaq by heart. I know you all have made tilawah of Surah Alaq maybe 100 times. How many of you have read Surah Alaq? You don't have to tell me. You're going to ask yourself, have you actually read Surah Alaq? Now what does reading the Quran mean? Reading the Quran requires what? According to the Quran, it requires contemplation. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنِ. Will they not contemplate the Quran? Allah Ta'ala asks us, أَفَلَا يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Do they not reflect? أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Do you not use your aql? These are the tools that are required when you read the Quran. So let's very quickly read that verse to see how beautiful the Quran can be, how it can resolve certain things in the 21st century. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Who can translate that first verse for me? Anyone? I'm sure you know it. Come on. Don't worry if we get it wrong. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Come on. You're going to be da'is. You have to lead. Yes, mashallah. Who had created you. Read in the name of your Lord who had created you. Okay. Second verse. Don't worry, it's only the two verses we'll focus on. خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ عَلَقٍ. Translation. Anyone else? Bismillah. Yes, go on. Don't worry. Bismillah. Take a chance. Yes. Who created a man from the clot of blood. Now let's think about this. Now that you are reading the verse, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Read in the name of your Lord. What is to read in the name of your Lord? Reading in the name of your Lord is to read with the full belief and confidence that ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. In this book, there is no doubt. This is called Iman. This is called faith. That's why we got a little heart there, because faith resides in our belief, is in our heart. Now that we understand that when we read in the name of our Lord, this is an attestment of our Iman. Now look at what Allah Azza wa Jal does. Now that you've understood that He says, خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ عَلَقٍ, who created man from a clot of blood. What is He telling you? He's saying, when you read in the name of your Lord with full Iman, that in this book, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ, now after the heart, I want you to use your intellect. And through your intellect, you will see that I created you from a clot of blood. What is Allah Ta'ala telling you now? Go to science. Go to the doctor. Ask him how you were created. Go to Surah Mu'minun. See the process of creation. And you will end up coming back to verse 1. That what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator. So in these two verses, or in this one, Allah Ta'ala is saying what? Faith and reason, which are the two problems that all other religions have. How do you merge the two? In the opening verses of Surah Alaq, Allah Ta'ala has brought them together. In our deen, they're not supposed to be put apart. They're supposed to be merged together. But how you merge them together? You take the faith and you bring it at the top. And your rational faculty, how you think, must always be under your iman, never above it. And that's the problem of the atheists today. The rational faculty, the way they think, is at the top, and after that they want to bring belief. That is why they cannot believe. This matter was resolved in Surah Alaq, but you can only do this if you read the surah instead of making tilawa of it. Let's move forward. So the question on, is the pen mightier than the sword? We've made that quite clear with the images that we've shown you. It is very, very true. Now, the non-Muslim world has actually understood this better than us. Much, much better in the 21st century. We are at the moment playing a game of catch-up on almost every avenue. When the radio was invented, the scholars at the time were apprehensive, because the radio, there was music. Music is haram, therefore radio is haram. All Muslims don't buy radios. But what did the non-Muslim world do? They said, hold on. If the radio can carry a voice, then I can propagate my belief far greater areas than I can in one place. So they started Christian networks, channels. And then when the Muslims eventually realized, oh yeah, we can also make dawah, we were playing catch up. Same thing happened with television. TV, haram. Eye of Dajjal. Don't buy it. Now when you do your research and stats, look at the amount of Christian networks in the world. We as Muslim channels barely make up a percentage. We are playing catch up. Similarly with journalism and writing. We are playing catch up. They've understood the power of the pen being mightier than the sword. And we have lost numbers as a result. Take example, the Jewish monopoly of journalism in the world, starting with the West. The amount of false flag news. And if you read Surah Yusuf, it has already told us how false flag information gets perpetuated. I wrote an article about this, Surah Yusuf and the origins of false flag information. You'll find it on the internet some time back. The Jewish monopoly of journalism cannot be denied. It's public knowledge. You can go on to Wikipedia now and just search for list of Jewish-owned newspapers. Hundreds come out. You can't even find a number. And then do a research of Muslim-owned newspapers. Very, very few. Even if they are, it's only circulated in the masajid for Muslims, not on a national basis. So we're playing catch-up. So what does all of this mean as we're going along? When you have your information, your views, your agenda being pushed around to the global populace, you sway public opinion to where you want it to move. You puppeteer people in the direction. I'll give you a perfect example. 9/11, the terror attacks. Very, very strange event. 2 planes hit the Twin Towers. No black boxes were recovered. Massive jet engines not recovered. 2 paper passports were found. Apparently paper doesn't burn. It can't catch on fire. Black box, massive engines, burnt. As a result, media propaganda started. Muslim, Islam. The result of that started very long before. You see, Muslims were not paying attention. There were surveys that were conducted at least 5 years before that event on the internet, online. You know, sometimes you want to sign up for an email account, something pops up there that you have to finish this survey, what do you think of this, what do you think of that, and then only you can go past. Surveys were conducted. What would you think if the Twin Towers fell and Muslims were blamed? How would it make you feel? People said, okay, I'd be angry, I'd be this, And then when all of this information was conducted, it's all right, so many percentage of people are angry. Time is right. So this was done how? Through writing. Writing is very, very important. After 9/11, same story. Islamophobia began. We don't have time to get into that. We'll come to that at a later stage. When you sway public opinion from minorities and you start these little newspapers as an example and you broaden it, you slowly get control over the whole world, which is what is happening. CNN, BBC, Sky, Fox News, even Al Jazeera networks are now owned by the same people. There are 3 or 4 corporations in the world owned by Jews that control everything that we read, everything that we watch, because they understand that the pen is mightier than the sword. And we were still fast asleep. Now, question. All of this is happening. Is it a coincidence? Is all of this that we're telling you about, is it just happening? Because we as Muslims do not subscribe to the law of coincidence. We believe in the qadr of Allah Azza wa Jal. But we also believe that a Muslim and the people and the qawm does not sit back. We have to be the change that we want to see. This is very important. So is it a coincidence? Not at all. The Prophet ﷺ, and I've mentioned this in one of my books, he mentioned that the time will come where the tongue is a representation of words, that words will be more severe than the blow of a sword. The Prophet ﷺ was telling us of a time of great propaganda, a time where propaganda will be so bad that you won't need a sword to do the damage you want to do. You'll just have to propagate words. Now, whether those words are vocal or whether those words are disseminated through writing, through newspapers, through media, we are living in that time. There's no 2 ways about it. Islam is the number 1 target. Muslims are the number 1 enemy, public enemy number 1, enemy of the state everywhere you go. So, the idea of the pen being mightier than the sword, whilst understood by the kuffar as a weapon of enmity against Muslims, the Prophet ﷺ warned us about it. But he's warning us about it. It's not for us to say, oh, he warned us about it, therefore it's going to happen. When someone warns you and says, look, you're standing at the edge of a cliff, he's telling you so you must jump. Or he's telling you so you must raise your awareness and not jump. When the Prophet ﷺ warned us about this, it was because he wanted to arm us with information. So when that time comes, we are equipped with the relevant knowledge to be able to go against that flow. And this is why we're in a predicament. We've gone into a bit of a sleep and a bit of a slumber. Now, let's move on to the next part, which is particularly for each and every one of you. Why is there a need? I mean, the IPCI has engaged in this topic because they've recognized it as a matter of extreme importance. So we need to understand, why is there a need to recognize the strategic importance of the topic today? I have my very good friend here with me, Maulana Dawood Fickra, and he's also involved in media. He's got shows on Al Ansar, and mashallah, he sends us these lovely pics of him all the time with lovely sayings. Allah Ta'ala keep him in good health. And he will also attest that there is a need. These are opportunities as da'is that must be taken. So we need to understand, he's understood it, but you for the future need to understand it as well. Why is there a need to recognize the strategic importance of the topic today? Well, IPCI said, okay, we got some time on our hands, let's just do something. No, there's a need for it. We need to understand that need, right? So let's go to the first point. Ulama, or inshallah future ulama da'is. First point, source material. If you look to the shelf there, you see books. Those books are research material. If you want to be a da'i or an alim, without written information, you are nothing. You are nothing. Don't be fooled by those people who say, oh, I don't need to research. I just know my stuff like that. He's a liar. He's trying to impress you. Before he came there, he researched. This is the ego talking. There is no such thing. You need to have access to research information. Now, how would you get access to research information if the ulama before you didn't write? Now let's imagine a world in which none of the ulama before us wrote a thing. How would we proceed? How would we learn? How would we take knowledge? So as source material, the importance of writing allows us to connect with history. It allows us to connect with the past and knowledge that has been penned and written in the past. Second point, progression of source material. If we as ulama, as da'is do not write, how will we ensure what we benefited from our past is then going to be beneficial for those in our future? Isn't that selfish? So I went, I studied, I learned from books, I read books, I've got all this knowledge. It's about me, myself, and I. So don't worry about the other guy, he'll find his own way. No. Now that I have this, I must share it. And that's the beauty of ilm. You share money, it's lesser in your pocket. You share ilm, it's still there. And it grows. So the importance from the perspective of ulama, you have to first understand that without what was written, you would not know anything. And then once you accept that, you must understand that you should not be selfish to hold and withhold that information, pass it on to others, so that that snowball effect of ilm and knowledge being passed can continue. Now, introspection, a look at ourselves. This is important. We'll come back to it shortly. Now, I know you have books and pens with you. This is for you. Very quickly, open it up. I want you, if you can, if you can't and you need some help, we'll help you. Maulana Dawood is here too, he'll help you. Write down the names of 3 famous scholars, 3 ulama that you have ever known about in the distant history. Any 3. Think about them. The easy ones I'll give you from distant history, the 4 imams of fiqh, write 3 of them down. The 4 imams of fiqh, you can write 3 of them down. Write down 3 famous scholars in distant history. Not last week now, distant. Done? Still thinking? Right. Now write down the names of 3 famous scholars in recent history. It can be 100 years ago, 200 years ago, not as long, but 3. Write them down. If you can't and you need some help, okay, even if you can't remember or know 3, as you all have written at least 1 in each category. How many of you got 3 in each? 3 in the first and 3 in the second? Who doesn't have? So I'm assuming everyone got it. If I walk around. All got it down? Okay, you all got at least 1 in the first category? From the 3 famous scholars in distant past, everyone has 1 at least? In the second one? At least 1? Okay, now I want you to think about something. How do you know those names? How? Huh? Correct? You didn't hear the lectures. There was no technology. You read what they wrote. Hundreds of years later, you can write their names down, even if it's just 1, because they wrote something of value and of importance. Now, keep that in mind. What do I need to do to enhance my knowledge base in order to become one of those who will be recorded in history as a scholar who propagated Islam? This is a question you have to ask yourself. What do I need to do? Because those names that you wrote them down because they had written something of value. If you want to be remembered, not for the wrong reasons, for the right reasons, then you also have to do something. And that's where you make the difference, right? Our intention should be, yes, I'm not going to tell you about for the sake of Allah. You know this, you're already here. I'm not going to tell you niyyah, ikhlas, that you all know. That's why you are here. But in writing, you should be firstly there to inspire the future leaders. Because writing is something that cannot change society overnight. Because it has to reach an audience over time. Now, focus on this word inspire. I'll share something with you. I only did, okay, I'll come to that part a bit later. I could never write anything. I was useless. When I say useless, I had zero confidence. I think useless is an understatement, right? But I picked up a book one day of a scholar who I never met, who had already passed away. He visited the Grey Street Masjid, not as just a Maulana, but as an Alim, as a Fadil, as a professor. Allama Dr. Professor Fadlur Rahman Ansari, rahimahullah. I picked up his book, 2 volumes. I had never read a book in my life, even in school. Used to bluff, Yeah, I read the book. Write the exam and try. Huh? I read his 2 volumes, The Quranic Foundation and Structure of Muslim Society. Every paragraph, you have to sit with a dictionary. Every paragraph, you have to sit. It's heavy. That book enhanced my understanding of the deen, broadened my perspective on Islam, and by the end of it, I read the dictionary more than I read any other book. So it enhanced my English. And then it inspired me to want to do the same. So if you want to write also, you have to be reading. Not necessarily only these kind of books. Pick up any other book. First start with Islamic information, but you have to read. That's why Iqra is the first word. If you don't read, you're never going to have the inspiration to write. You got to read. From there you develop ideas. So, but you got to do so with the intention of inspiring the future. So when you write, you're not just writing for yourself. You're writing with ideas for years to come. There are ideas today implemented that were written hundreds of years ago. That's what's important about writing. Second, to bring about positive change. We know very well that in da'wah, ud'u ila sabil rabbika bil hikma wal maw'izatil hasana. That is the premise upon which we do things. We do it with a smile. We do it in the best of way, without arrogance. We do it with the best of humility. One of the other things is to always clarify the truth. In whatever you write, always make sure that haqq prevails over batil, but of course in the best of ways. Now this is something you need to ask yourself. Who inspires or inspired you? Why are you here today? Who inspired you? I told you who inspired me. Well, not in the field of ilm. That came much, much younger for me. But in the field of writing, it was no doubt Professor Fazlur Rahman Ansari, who I never met. And I dedicated one of my books to him as the teacher who I never met. And some people were offended. Shaykh, you had so many teachers, real teachers, but you dedicated your book to a teacher you never met. I said, no, because this is a book that's about writing. He inspired me to write. So I must give him the credit that is due. So you need to ask yourself who inspired you. And if you haven't found that inspiration yet, you need to search for it. I got it. I qualified, and there's no such thing as qualified anyway, in 2004. And I only got inspired in 2013 to actually write. So you may not have your inspiration yet, but you have to search for it. And you're only going to get that through searching. Then when you acquire that inspiration, how do you harness that capacity and then find a way to inspire others? So it's one thing, right, I'm inspired. Then I'm going to sleep. Huh? MashaAllah, I'm inspired. Assalamu alaikum. You're not going to help anyone. You get inspiration, and then that inspiration is supposed to give you sleepless nights. It's supposed to be on your mind. It's supposed to trouble you. What do I do with this? How do I harness it to bring it into a point that it can help others? So that's important. As a da'i, you're not just there to say, right, this is the message, Assalamu alaikum. It is something that is supposed to trouble you, but obviously in the best of ways. Now, I was supposed to delve into a separate presentation here, but that's going to take too long, but I'll just quickly tell you. How did Islamic information transformed the world? This is very, very important. And as Muslims, one of the biggest downfalls is that we don't know our own history. Now, Islam, of course, we do believe and we understand that it is the key to truth. Because it is al-haq, sent from al-haq. The book is al-haq, and the words of the Prophet ﷺ is al-haq. So it is truth. And we believe it, we accept it, we have iman in it, we have no doubt in it. And that's one of the beauties of why Surah Alaq was revealed later, right? Surah Alaq was revealed first, but is put later. And Surah Baqarah was revealed later, but placed first. Second surah of the Quran, in the first parts of the Quran, is Surah Baqarah. Because Allah Azza wa Jal wanted us, when we open it, to see ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. Don't you think that's amazing though? Okay, I'm going to ask you, I know that you know basics, right? I said, اقرأ بِسْمِ رَبِّكَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ. You all had an idea. What does Alif Lam Mim mean? Anyone? I got some money in my wallet. Alif Lam Mim. Huh? Nobody knows it. Okay, then I have a question for you. Nobody knows it. What comes after Alif Lam Mim? ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ. But you don't know what Alif Lam Mim means. But you're saying there's no doubt in this book? How? Alif Lam Mim, you don't know. But ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. Shouldn't you be in doubt? You know why you're not in doubt? Because Allah Ta'ala is already showing you that if you get the whole world, the whole universe, everyone, bring your degree, you can't tell me what Alif Lam Mim means. And if you can't tell me what Alif Lam Mim means, I'm showing you that you must submit to my ilm. You must submit to my knowledge. If you submit to my knowledge, then you'll come to the conclusion that there's no doubt in this book because it's coming from a higher source of ilm, a higher source of knowledge. Therefore, everything in this book is truth. That's the beauty. Now, you can only come to that conclusion when you read Surah Baqarah, not making tilawa only, right? Now, on Islam and how Islamic information transformed the world. History, you must know, has always been written in the view of the victor, meaning a country that we know about, the winner of the war, they wrote history. So they wrote it according to how they won. We know only their side of the story. That's how history has always been written. Currently, what we know about the world is that the West must be praised. The West has brought stability to the world. The West has given everything to all. We must submit to them. That's incorrect. You see this computer right here, this screen right here, it may be made in the West or wherever the East or chip coming from Microsoft or wherever. It would not be possible without what was written by a Muslim scholar. His name, Al-Khawarizmi. Al-Khawarizmi, through him, we have the subject of algebra. Through him, we have the subject of algorithms, through which you cannot write a computer program. No Facebook, no Twitter, no selfies to upload to the internet without what was written by a Muslim scholar. This is agreed upon fact of history, Al-Khawarizmi. Read about him. All the accomplishments in the medical field that we see today, that was penned in the books of medical science. Our brother Safiso, mashallah, looks very handsome with his glasses. Glasses came from where? Came from us. Read Kitabun Nadair, where the original philosophy and the theories of how the eye works, it came from our ulama, our scholars. But we don't know, because we're reading the history in view of the victor, which is the West. So we need to read and enhance our Islamic ilm, our knowledge, in order for us to move forward. So I'm going to skip the whole thing, but if you have any questions, we'll come to that. Right. Now we come to the harsh realities. Why is there an abysmal decline of Muslim writers from ulama? I can say it because I'm counted amongst them, even though I'm not. But many of them won't say it. But this is the reality. There are very, very few ulama in the 21st century that are writing. And is it a problem? Do we foresee it as a problem? And if so, what are the solutions? So, let's get to the root of the problem very quickly. And this is something you need to understand, because you are our future. If you can understand this, we may, Shaykh Faheem, Dawood, Fickra, we may not see it in our time, but maybe in your time, you can make the difference. Not that I'm very old, I'm just saying. So, getting to the root of the problem. I've actually discussed this in my new book. I've made quite a big critique of the ulama structures, but the first is the problem of mindset. I want to write, but Shaykh Faheem, I didn't do matric. Ooh, What am I going to do now? I didn't do matric, I can't write. Right. I'm going to ask you something, you're going to think it's demoralizing. Who didn't do matric here? Me. I didn't do matric. I only did till grade 9 in school. I did till grade 9 and I went to become an alim. And it was always put in my mind that you can only do something in life if you did matric. And if you didn't do matric, you can't do all these things. But until I started reading, and I realized that something that's written there, I can read. And if I can read, I can write. It's so simple. If you can read, you can write. But the mentality of the people, I didn't do matric, therefore I can't do nothing. No, if you didn't do matric, that shouldn't stop you. You should go out to get the goals, achieve the goals that you want to achieve, especially if it's for the betterment of the deen. Sure, I didn't do matric. I could have opened a business. I didn't do that. But I focused here because it was for the betterment of the deen. So first, if you want to start writing, you've got to correct your mindset. You have to have confidence. You have to have self-belief. There'll be a lot of doubters there. Let me tell you, there's nobody there in your dark times. There's nobody there in your dark times. In the good times, everybody is there. But when you're in the Islamic field, the moment you do good work, there's vultures. The moment you do good work, the vultures. And who are the vultures? People who are also trying to do their work. They want to critique you. They want to find mistakes. So your mindset and your mentality has to be very, very, very strong. But you also have to be humble. Right? I'll come to that in a short while. So let's correct our mindset first. Don't let that stop us. Educational stagnation. Ooh, big problem. And I'm not talking about the secular education. I'm talking about Islamic education. I'll give you an example. Hifz class. It's all in my book. Alhamdulillah, South Africa produces one of the largest number of Hufaz compared to other countries in the world. Alhamdulillah. Allah Ta'ala bless the Hufaz. Say Ameen. And bless the Asatiz of the Hufaz. However, there are Hufaz that are becoming Christian. There are Hufaz who are becoming atheists. How? Because they memorized the Quran, they made tilawah, they never read the Quran. So our educational structure is memory technique. But who's teaching them the ruling of the surah? Who's teaching them the background of the surah? Who's teaching them the seerah of the surah? So mashallah, we're making hufaz, but only based on memory. So what we actually taught people is, you can't be a hafiz if you've got a bad memory. That's wrong. That's wrong. Anyone can become a hafiz. You don't have to have a good memory to become a hafiz. There's so many other ways you can learn the Quran. So educational stagnation. Take example, Darul Ulums. I can say this because I studied in one. Like if you didn't study in one and you critique it, then someone come and tell you something is your problem. I can critique it because I studied there. Someone tells me, how can you say that? I say, I lived in one. Lived in a few actually. So I can say it. Look at our Darul Ulum structures. What are we producing? How many Darul Ulums today are producing a student who, the moment he qualifies, he can go to a university and teach? I can't find one. Darul Ulum, huh? How many Darul Ulums are producing students who, the moment he qualifies, he can stand and debate an atheist or a scientist? No. Yet, if you look at the past and what our Darul Ulums produced, it's through what our Darul Ulums produced in the past that we have the knowledge that we have today. We didn't evolve to meet the problems of the 21st century. We took a 500-year-old syllabus and we stayed with it. So there needs to be change, right? Scholarly stagnation. Now let me tell you something, right? Let's just say you study a Da'i course or a Hafiz course or a Alim course. Getting a certificate is just a motivation. We don't know nothing. This is your mindset. Your mindset should always be that I don't know anything. Because the moment you allow yourself to accept that I know something is the day your destruction begins. That's where the problem arises. The job of a scholar or an alim is not to give the Jummah talk, no. That's not his job. That's part of his responsibility. That's what he should be doing. To give a talk at maybe somebody passes away and there's a maulid or there's a gathering somewhere. Alhamdulillah, that's part of it. But that's not your job. Your job, and aside from the fact that there are other issues related to that, your job is to disseminate ilm. That is why you call an alim. You have to find every possible avenue to spread the knowledge, to spread the ilm. If scholarly stagnation is only about delivering a lecture, how is it that we have so much of knowledge in books all of these years? It was about the ilm that they imparted in what they wrote. Although we have the recordings of what the ulama lectured, but lectures are not considered ilm, because it's what they said. Okay, fine. But we want to know what the ulama wrote, because that's where the ilm comes from. So we have to be very, very careful about these matters. Scholarly stagnation. Don't say, I'm qualified, therefore, tammat. It never ends. And if you're on the viewpoint of it never ends, then you will always be open to receiving information from others as well, right? We're almost done. Okay, so let's just say some of you here are convinced that at some stage in your life, you want to start writing. What should be the methodological construct for writing? What should you do, right? Some guidelines about writing. And look, again, I don't think I'm in a position to give guidelines. I'm not doing this for a long period of time, but from my little experience, just some of the things that I can impart with you. So I'm at this point now, I've decided to write. Well, where do I go from here? This is the first thing. What you have to understand in anything that you do, start small. You can't just say, right, I'm writing. I want to do a 10-volume book. No. Articles, essays, simple topics. That's what I did as well. You find a simple yet important topic, you do an article about that. Get your work checked by someone who you think might have insight. Take the information. If you think you have a weakness in the language, go to someone who you think has better language skills than you. If you think that the Quranic references, all of these things need to be checked, go to someone who you think has better insight than you. But start small. Get experience, listen to feedback, and then grow. Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say, right? Once that's done, then this is something that I do. You got to ask yourself questions before you write stuff. Who, what, where, when, why, how. And this is actually how you should be studying Quran. When I teach my students, I run a course at NMJ over a year. And when we teach, it's called Understanding the Quran. And when we teach methodological study of analysis of Quran, we teach you how you should analyze each verse or series of verses before you begin to say, I understand it. So many checks that you have to do. Now, introspective. You first got to write down, whether it's on a page or whether you're typing. Who am I? You first have to identify who you are. You have to remind yourself who I am. Why am I writing this? Remind yourself. Where do I expect this material to reach? How? By when do I think? What are my subject matters? That's introspective. Then in your second page, methodology. How am I going to structure the material? By when do I think I will be done? What are the other outlining subject matters that are all going to come? These are things that you have to ask, right? And methodology, anyone who knows me tells you I'm a methodologist. It has to be systematic. So if your methodology is sound, your conclusion is sound. You're not asking yourself questions. You don't write 10 pages and delete and start again. You know where you're going. And your objectives. For who am I doing this, right? how do I expect this to be received? There's a lot of things. When you're done with that, then you are now ready to start your article, your first book, whatever. And I'm telling you this not in as an empty gesture. I'm very easily approachable. My good friend will tell you, when he needs anything, he knows. He'll come to me and I'll stop whatever I'm doing and I'll give him all of my time. You want to write something? You want the guidelines? You don't know? If you can't contact anyone, you ask me, I'll make the time. If someone wants to learn, we're always ready to help them in the best way that we can, right? So, you must always forget when you're writing, check that you didn't forget your Quran. What do we mean by this? Doesn't matter how many books you write, doesn't matter how far you've gone, everything must be based from the Quran and Sunnah. Whatever subject matter you want to write on, if you cannot find the basis of that from the Quran, don't start writing. Don't end your writing without the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Because وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ تِبْيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. The Quran says that it has been sent as a book that discusses all things. You just have to find it. And methodology, you can find it as well. But just for your information, when we're saying this guy is talking a lot, what does he know about writing? So alhamdulillah, in 2014, I wrote the history and compilation of the Quran. You can see it started off as 111 pages. Small book, took a chance. Huh? Then in the next year, 2015, I wrote The Forgotten Haram, 40 narrations concerning Jerusalem, because Palestine is in my heart. And then you can see the jump. In 2016, 484 pages on the signs of Qiyamah, the beginning of the end. Then, obviously because of size and cost issues, we did a book almost similar size, Volume 1, Stories of the Prophets for the Modern Age. And then the latest book on defending Islam against all of these allegations from Christians and atheists and scientists, Defense Against Disaster, which we just launched now, which is 500 pages. Now, why am I telling you this? You can see very clearly I'm saying Alhamdulillah. You have to get in the habit that whatever you do, you give a speech, people will come to you and say, hey, Shaykh, Maulana, mashallah. Accept their comments, but understand something. It's the dua of your parents, whether they are Muslim or not, it's the dua of your parents and the hard work of your teachers. I am nothing. If you can maintain that standard, you will never allow pride to cloud your judgment. Always. Once pride clouds your judgment, then Iblis is the perfect example of what can happen. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us on this path, and inshallah to guide us on the path of authorship and writing, inshallah. And when He does so, may He guide our pens to write what is haqq and safeguard us from what is batil. Any questions, if there are, please don't feel shy. If it's too difficult, I'll charge you. Huh? Bismillah. Anything?
Media house in terms of radio and television. So what a very good answer you can give to an alim, the one who tells you that television is haram.
Okay, so we have lots of different mindsets out there. Unfortunately, sectarian issues play a role. When an alim is posing a question, and this is something you all need to understand. Before you answer any question, understand the questioner. Right? There's different answers for different people. You cannot engage in an ilmi discussion with an alim. All he's going to do is going to give you terminology, going to give you this dalil, that evidence. Problem. Simple. A knife can be used to stab someone in the back. It can be used to cut an apple. Ask the alim, is the fault with the knife or the person holding the knife? Answer, the person holding the knife. Same thing applies for everything. So the TV can't be wrong because the TV has no morals. It's not a moral being, but it's how you utilize it. So if you utilize it for good, good will come. If you utilize it for bad, now let's take example Shaykh Ahmed did that. You say TV is haram. There are people who accepted Islam watching him. I went one day on my first trip to the UK when I went to live there. And on my way back, Maulana Dawood will tell you, I have love for the African people. So in UK, I hadn't seen an African person for some time. I felt like out of place. So when I came to Dubai, I saw an African man with a lovely African garb. So I went to him, And I go to him and I asked him, where are you from? I don't think he was Muslim. And he says, Côte d'Ivoire, which is where? Now I'm a football fan, and if you might not look the part, but I'm a striker, I'm a number 10. Maulana, they think I'm joking. Yeah, you must come play, right? And I immediately said to him, when he said Côte d'Ivoire, I said Didier Drogba, because that's who I know. So he asked me, where are you from? I said, South Africa. You know what he said? Ahmed did that. This is what he said to me. I thought he's going to tell me Benny McCarthy or something. I don't know. Huh? But point is what? He never met Ahmed Didat. He saw him. Are you going to tell me that television is haram? Now, in Masail, this is what we call a furu'i masla. It's not even a secondary issue. Palestine is burning. Syria is burning. Yemen is burning. You want to argue with me if TV is haram? Let's sort that out first. Then come to these issues. That's our approach. I hope it answers your question. All right? Anything else?
I would like to know regarding this technology what type of software you using for.
Okay, if you look here, this is called Prezi, Prezi. It's an online. You can use it free if you want as well. You sign up, prezi.com. It's not the easiest thing, it takes time, but it's very efficient. Right? So you sign in with your email address, whatever, and then you slowly build. But what you can do is you go onto YouTube or something first, and you watch a tutorial on how you build, and then you, obviously if you have money, then you buy the expensive one, and then you get access to more kind of templates and things. Good question though, at least you're interested. Jay?
On your YouTube site, there's a lot of Islamic websites where people are going on to look at information for doing research. Right? Which would be the ideal recommended? Because some of the Islamic sites you go through, then you find that it's become problematic. Sometimes it's written by Christians. It's a Christian site, but it's using an Islamic name. So people go onto the site, and then that becomes a problem because you're doing research, and then you're coming back to the platform to also give the same message. So how do you?
Well, I don't think there's any one website that you can direct people to. What you have to inform people of the little things that they have to be aware of to identify what kind of website they're on. Am I in an Islamic website? Am I in a Christian website? Within the realms of Islam, and am I in a website that is derogatory, that is extreme? There's not any one website that's going to be all comprehensive of everything Islam. What I always tell people is, you stick to your ulama, and you ask your ulama to give you local information first. You see, the problem now, people, is we are fascinated with overseas people. We're fascinated with, as an example, an American website. So we only want to go there. And then what happens is .com, and then you end up going into places that may be detrimental. Example, the Qadiani movement, very, very dangerous. But they are so articulate. You read it and it's like, this makes sense. So instead of going on to too much of website research, start with books first. So find books, or find those books that are online, download PDFs, instead of just going on website. There are a lot. I mean, example, I'm sure IPCI has their own website with their own information. We have our own website with our own information. But you can only identify with the website if you know the people behind the website. If you don't know the people behind the website, it becomes difficult. Or if you don't know the author of an article, it becomes difficult. So again, you can't really give a single, in my opinion, you can't give one website that's going to say, right, this is the place that you're going to get everything. But I know in your realm, for comparative religion, I think it's called Answering Christianity. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. Yeah, I'm not sure how good it is, but I know in response to what the non-Muslims have done in answering Islam, then the brothers have created Answering Christianity, in which they've now taken those objections and answered it. That may be a good place as well. Anything else?
What's your website?
My website. Well, the one for the organization is Islamic Lifestyle Solutions.co.za. My own website is at the moment just being sorted out, but it will be on my name, so that shouldn't be hard for you to find. But Islamic Lifestyle Solutions.co.za, you'll find some of our articles there. Books are at the moment just for sale, but if anybody needs, then they can contact us, and we can try to assist, inshallah, especially if it's for ulama. We always try to assist in that regard, right? But yeah, we do have articles on various topics. Those of you who don't know me, I have an affinity for the subject of the signs of Qiyamah. So you'll find a lot of end times articles and these kind of things, which is very important for the 21st century as well. And you can leave your comments as well and your criticisms, no problem.
Right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, being one person who's been exposed to the lectures and also some material that the Shaykh has written, I appreciate the fact that he had to come and grant you also access to that very same information. He's one of the shuyukh that I'm very proud of in our time, because I've been exposed to a couple of shuyukh who are known as contemporary shuyukh, but they are not from our country or even in our own diaspora. So it is a great pleasure to have him here today. And I hope you took, cognizance of that, because when, especially his book, Defense Against Disaster was launched, it was basically tackling the things I've been exposed to via YouTube quite a lot. There's quite a lot of activities on YouTube that is happening over there. And it is, Afwan, I think that is, all right, inshallah, just shut that. I think I was just finishing the clip. So anyways, brothers, all I want to appreciate first of all is the Shaykh and Maulana Dawood to bring the Shaykh, because it's very difficult to find the Shaykh anyways. Even when you want to give salams after the masjid, he's gone, and he's moving with a very fast car, so you can't catch him even if you run, alhamdulillah. So we really ask Allah to bless the Shaykh and also you brothers as well as the shuyukh of tomorrow and also of current times. We ask Allah to bless the efforts and more especially documented. One thing I guarantee you, brothers, I always advise that, when you read, it's one of the things. I found Islam through reading myself. It wasn't through someone convincing me, and for me, it has been what drives me. And I feel, there's this myth or statement that says if you want to hide something from a black person, you put it in a book, You can try it at home as well. Hide some money in a book, you'll realize how much people don't want to read. And I guarantee you, this is like a speculation, obviously, that I started developing as I would realize that when Allah, He created the pen first, and the first verse that was revealed after that was Iqra, and for me, it just clicked. The connection of the beginning, of everything was through a pen, which means that everything, if you want to access or, basically find the secrets, you have to, be a friend with the pen and also with what is written. And alhamdulillah, we see about 5 already publications that are there, and ask Allah to bless the effort and also to keep it in our midst. And not only for us to relax and say, no, Shaykh Faheem wrote, so alhamdulillah, but this should be more like an introduction to our own books in the future, inshallah, the books that he's written. So I ask Allah to bless the Shaykh and also you brothers. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah ya Allah ya Allah. الحميد المجيد الرشيد الشهيد اللطيف الخبير